Well, the expansion is almost out, guys. Just a few hours, and then we will finally be able to enter the new expansion. All of this talk about spoon-feeding you a bunch of information, news, data, stats, that's gonna be all obsolete. You will be able to see it on your own, by yourself. You won't need my help anymore. You will be able to take off your training wheels. However, the time has not yet come. There is still more babysitting to be done, and that's where I come in. This time, rather than telling you what you have to do in the first weeks, all of the things that happen in-game, I'm going to show you some very helpful resources, some very helpful sites, third-party sites, spreadsheets, and documents that you should, recommended by myself, save and keep track of throughout the first few weeks of the expansion. Now, before we go into the external part of this video, I'm gonna go over, just for a couple of minutes, into a little extra help for the release. Now, you have all looked at a bunch of guides, you have tried to get yourself ready, buy some flasks, some food, some potions, look at all the various different guides, what they are telling you to buy or to loot. So I'm going to add this right now because I've seen quite a few guides and I have actually not seen these items being recommended, not enough or not at all, and considering how easy it is to get them, I wanted to push them in here. I'm talking about the oddly shaped horn, the bag of kaffa beans, and the tuft of yak fur. This is going all the way back to Mists of Pandaria. The oddly shaped horn is dropped by the Sungrace Behemoth in between the Jade Forest and the Valley of the Four Winds, guaranteed drop chance. You can then fly to the Dread Wastes, take out Pengsong to get the tuft of yak fur, and then fly all the way up to Konlai Summit, take out Zing, and pick up the bag of kaffa beans. This way, you're going to have 9 charges of a very fast mount to travel around. This is particularly helpful for demo, obviously, and for how fast it is, you should definitely do it. Now that you are just rolling your thumbs, waiting for the expansion and nothing else is happening, you might as well do this. Now, looking at the actual point of the video, the actual third-party sites, the actual help you can get outside of the game. I don't know how much we can consider it third-party at this point, but I would recommend everyone to get into a class Discord. Now, this goes against myself, against my own interests. I don't want any more casuals and noobs swarming a class Discord asking the same dumb questions 50 times. However, I'm sure my viewers are not like that. So, you have extremely high intellectual capabilities, so you understand better than that. The reason why class Discords are the best way for you to learn about your class and your spec is because, well, they are populated by people who care. You will always be able to find the up-to-date information regarding your own spec. Even right at this moment, if you're going on Wowhead to look for a guide, to look for the best legendaries, the best covenants, the best rotations, if you're going to Icy Veins, if you're going to a YouTube video, even mine, even my own, or if you're going to a stream, there is a 99.74%, my scientists are telling me, 99.74% chance that all of that information is going to be outdated. Because the people staying 24/7 on the class Discords have already updated the APL of their sims, they have already come up with new, better working rotation or new fixes for their sims. It's the place where you can find things like Toe Grinder sims for Mage. All the different sims for all 3 specs, 1 target, 3 target, 5 targets, you know, the amount of renown you can have, the legendaries, all the different combos. You can go in the Council of the Black Harvest for Warlocks and you can find people linking you the APL for Destruction Warlock or the APL for Demonology Warlock. APL being the action priority system. It's what you put in Simulation Craft, it's what you put in raid bots to essentially replicate that rotation and then tell you how much DPS you're doing. That has to be done by hand. It has to be man-made. It doesn't magically pop up in raid bots, it doesn't magically pop up in Simulation Craft. People, humans, have to actually come up with that. Class Discords are always going to be the best source of all of that. They're going to have an up-to-date, frequently asked question part, telling you all the different news and changes, what can they mean for the spec, for the class, etc, etc. It's always going to be the best way to go and get information. I can't stress this enough, given the amount of questions I see in my own comments, in Wowhead comments, in official Blizzard forum comments, Reddit comments, basically everywhere. The answer is always the same. The more updated and generally informative question is always going to be in these type of places, like class Discords. So the first one you should keep track of is this YouTube channel right here. I've watched it myself and it's actually pretty informative. I've learned a lot. I can definitely say I have become a better player by at least 3 orders of magnitude since I started watching him. So this is a guaranteed pick when you want to keep up with all the things that happen in Shadowlands. This is a nice and easy no-brainer. Now, on to other things that can help you. Number 1, of course, is our Rusky friend, Medivh. This is Medivh's guide, the one that Medivh has been doing essentially ever since Warlords of Draenor, at least, that I can remember. Now, if I made my what to do video, pretty much just copying this guide, it would have been a 4-hour long video. This guide is enormous. Guys, there is pretty much everything you want to see in here, everything you want to keep track of. It's going to remain relevant quite a few weeks after the launch of the expansion. Things like Renown, things like the Torghast, the legendaries, the gearing up system. It is going to remain relevant for quite a while, so this is definitely a guide to keep track of. Now, another couple of Google spreadsheets for you to keep track of. One is going to be this repository of legendaries and conduits drop locations. You can find them in other sites, you can find them in other lists, but these are just very compact. You know, no frills, no external things on the site, no Wowhead 50 ads. This is just a nice and tidy list. You have your legendaries by class, and then the slot and the source, and then you can look at the conduits either by source or by class. By source you will see which dungeon drops which conduits for all related classes, and then you can just look at the conduits by class. And this is a very nice one to have in your bookmarks, always ready for you to remember, especially for the people planning on playing 2, 3, 4 different characters. Now, going a little bit more in depth, a very nice one for you who have not had time to play the beta particularly, who don't even have an image in your head. When I say Artificer Zymox, or when I say Council of Blood, you have no idea what I'm talking about. This is a very nice Google Doc where Schlim from Occasional Excellence, a guild in Turalion, US, is going to give you a bunch of gifts for raid encounters. Very nicely made, very well done, that can explain you very well the context of the mechanic you're supposed to follow. Very, very easy, very, very nice to look at, very, very simple to understand as well. I mean, come on, you're looking at this GIF, obviously 3 players are getting linked and you have to spread to be able to make the link catch all the red dots on the ground, right? It's pretty understandable, even if you have never seen the boss. Now, other cool things that we have. Tank notes. An oldie, but a goodie. Tank notes has been around for a while now, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's gonna go through every single dungeon, and then eventually every single raid encounter, and it's going to give you tips, or rather, notes for tanks. What to do, what to be afraid of, what to be careful of, and then eventually it's going to be specialized spec by spec by spec, showing you tips about your turn cooldowns or your utility abilities that can work very well in certain dungeons. That is going to be very, very nice for you if you're planning on tanking. Not only that, but even if you're healing, this can actually help you. Especially if you're planning to heal with, you know, a buddy, a partner that's gonna tank, this can actually help you as well. Now, on to what can possibly be the best entry out of all of these new resources for you is going to be Mythic Trap. New for this expansion, we have a casual proof way of learning dungeons and eventually learning raids as well. Beyond the very smooth, slick and aesthetic layout, the way the information is being presented is very, very understandable for everyone. You're literally going to be told with a nice understandable model of the enemy, a nice understandable icon of the ability, what to do. What to interrupt, kick, stun, use defensives, dispel. You're going to have gifs showing you what you're supposed to be doing, pointing you with arrows, with circles, showing you exactly what you're supposed to be doing for every single dungeon in the entire expansion, and then later on for raids as well. So this is going to be a very, very nice repository for you to keep track of, especially as you start doing Mythic Zeros, but more importantly, as you get into Mythic Plus and you start actually getting hit by this type of things, because Mythic Zero, you know, Mythic Zero is where bad players can make mistakes and not get punished because you know, they're starting to overgear the content, but then as you start going to Mythic Plus, the things you were ignoring before start one-shotting you. So you have to understand actually what's going on, and this is very nice. At the very least, as an entry step. For people afraid of Mythic Plus, you know, for people who are scared or are not sure how to learn, this is a very nice start. So this was my list of resources you should probably keep track of for the release of Shadowlands. Obviously, you have things like Wowhead, you have things like Wago.io for your Wikoras, you have things like Warcraft logs, obviously, Raider.io, raid bots, but these are way more known, way more standard, and more or less in most people's bookmarks, one way or another. So I was going a little bit more in depth, a little bit more in detail, finding some more niche resources you guys might not be aware of. So I hope this helped you. I hope this is going to help you play and get better, as always, at least one of these. I hope this helped you improving as a player, although if you're watching me, you are almost at the peak, at the apex of your skill. There is very little you can improve, but nevertheless, some of you still might have gotten something from this. So, with this I'm done. See you guys in the next expansion. The first video of the next expansion is probably going to be my experience leveling. 1, 2, 3 characters, we will see. And then we will go from there. It's gonna be some couple of rather quiet weeks. No Mythic Plus open, no raids open. It's not gonna be that much to talk about, right? With this I'm leaving. See you guys soon, and in the meantime, don't stress too much, guys.